Lena was 31 and worked as a software developer at a small tech startup. She lived in a modest two-bedroom apartment that she had bought after years of saving. But behind her career success, there was always family drama waiting to swallow her peace. Her younger brother, David, had been the golden child all his life. He was 2 years younger but treated like royalty. When David turned 10, their parents gave him a shiny new bike, while Lena got a bag of hand-me-down clothes. Once, David broke their mother's favorite vase while playing ball inside the house. Instead of blaming him, her parents shouted at Lena. "You should have been watching him," her mother had yelled, even though Lena had been in her room doing homework. That was how things always went. David could do no wrong and Lena carried the blame. Where are you watching from today? Kindly hit like, comment and subscribe to this channel for more. As teenagers, the differences grew sharper. David wanted to join an expensive travel baseball team, and somehow their parents found the $3,000 to cover the fees and trips. But when Lena asked for piano lessons, which cost only $30 a week, her parents shook their heads. "We can't afford luxuries like that," her father said flatly. So Lena started working at 15, bagging groceries every weekend to earn her own money. She stood on her feet for 8-hour shifts, smiling at cranky customers just to save enough for school supplies or clothes that fit. Meanwhile, David collected a $50 weekly allowance simply for existing. He spent it on video games while Lena carefully saved every penny. By senior year, the injustice had become routine. When David crashed their dad's car during a reckless joyride, their father just sighed and bought him another used Honda. But when Lena asked for help buying her first car so she could get to school and work, her dad laughed. "You can take the bus. Builds character," he said. 5 years earlier, their father had lost his job after his company downsized. He had worked there for 2 decades and all he got was a 2-week severance check. Their mother worked part-time at a supermarket, barely 20 hours a week. One night, Lena got a call from her mom, who was sobbing so hard Lena could hardly understand her. "Sweetheart, we're going to lose the house," her mother cried. "We're 3 months behind on the mortgage. The bank keeps sending foreclosure notices." Lena's heart sank. "How much do you need, Mom?" she asked gently. Her mother sniffled. "The mortgage is $1,800. With utilities and insurance, maybe $2,500 total." At that time, Lena had just been promoted, making $85,000 a year. She thought she could manage it. "I'll set up an automatic transfer," she promised. Her mother burst into grateful sobs. "You're saving us, Lena. We'll pay you back every penny as soon as your dad finds work." But 5 years passed and not a single dime was ever returned. 3 years ago, Lena finally bought her own apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was hers. She had saved relentlessly while still helping her parents, skipping vacations, driving a 15-year-old car and living cheaply on ramen noodles. The down payment of $40,000 drained her savings, and the $180,000 mortgage felt heavy, but the joy of unlocking her own front door was priceless. She cried in her empty living room the day she got the keys. Meanwhile, David was in college. She never heard her parents complain about tuition bills, which puzzled her. At Thanksgiving, the truth slipped out. Her mother sighed in relief. "Thank goodness you've been helping us, Lena. We couldn't have afforded David's college otherwise." Lena froze. "Wait, you used my money for his tuition?" she demanded. Her father didn't even look ashamed. "Family helps family. He had scholarships. He didn't. It's your duty as his older sister." The revelation made Lena sick to her stomach, but what could she do? The money was gone. In total, $60,000 of her hard-earned savings had gone to David's education. After college, he landed a junior management job at a trading company, making maybe $35,000, yet he strutted around as if he were a millionaire. He bought a new phone, new clothes, and even took weekend trips. Within a year, he had met a woman named Anna, a pretty blonde receptionist. 6 months later, he proposed to her. Lena was sure her parents had helped him buy the ring, with her money. A month before his wedding, Lena was invited to dinner. Her mother made Lena's favorite lasagna, which was unusual. The good china was on the table and even David showed up on time. Something was off. Her father cleared his throat. "Lena, we need to discuss something important as a family. David's getting married. They need a place to live." Her stomach dropped. She knew exactly what was coming next. Lena tried to keep her face calm, But her father's tone told her this wasn't just a casual conversation. Her mother leaned in with watery eyes. Anna's 3 months pregnant. They need stability for the baby. Lena forced a smile. That's good news. I'm sure they'll find something nice. Apartments are affordable right now if you search carefully. Her father shook his head. Actually, we think you should give them your apartment. The words hit Lena like a punch. She laughed nervously, waiting for the joke to end. But no one laughed. Their faces were deadly serious. I'm sorry, Lena said slowly, her voice shaking. You want me to give them my apartment? The one I bought with my money? The one I'm still paying for every month? Her mother's tears came right on cue. How can you be so selfish, Lena? This is your nephew we're talking about, an innocent baby. Her father piled on, his voice hard. We sacrificed everything for you. We worked doubles and overtime so you could have a good life. And now when your brother needs help you turn your back. Anna placed her hand protectively on her belly. Her voice was soft but her words cut deep. In my family we help each other. I thought that's what family meant. But if you'd rather see your nephew born into struggle. Lena snapped. Don't lecture me about family. You've known David for 1 year. You don't get to define what family means. Her mother gasped. Lena. Apologize right now. For what? Lena shot back. For refusing to hand over the home I worked blood and sweat to buy? David finally spoke up, his voice defensive. It's not like that, Lena. We just need help getting started. You remember how hard it was when you first moved out, right? Lena's eyes blazed. Oh, I remember. I lived in a studio crawling with cockroaches. I worked 3 jobs just to afford rent. What I don't remember is anyone handing me a free apartment. Her father waved his hand dismissively. You're being dramatic. We're not saying you should give it to them forever. Just let them stay there while they save up for their own place. For how long? Lena demanded. 6 months, her mother said quickly. A year at most. Lena stared in disbelief. And where am I supposed to live during that time? Her mother brightened as if she had a solution. There are plenty of studios for rent. I saw one online for only $1,200 a month. Perfect for you. Lena's mouth dropped open. You expect me to pay rent on top of my $1,800 mortgage? Her father jumped in. David will pay you something, right, son? David nodded eagerly. Of course. We'll work something out. Fair and reasonable. For 2 hours they kept pushing. Her mother cried 3 times. Her father questioned her values, even asking if she was really his daughter, if she could be this heartless. Anna kept bringing up the baby until Lena's head spun. Finally, exhausted and worn down by their guilt, Lena muttered, Fine. Her father clapped his hands together. You won't regret this, sweetheart. Family always sticks together. But inside, Lena's heart burned with resentment. The next week, Lena found a tiny studio apartment. 500 square feet for $1,200 a month, with no laundry in the building. Her old apartment had a washer and dryer, a dishwasher and central air. This place had a rattling window unit that sounded like an airplane engine. David and Anna moved into her apartment right away. They didn't even offer to help her move her furniture. Lena had to rent a storage unit for $150 a month, another bill she could barely afford. The first month passed without a single payment from David. Lena texted him politely. Hey, just checking about the rent we discussed. His reply came hours later. Things are tight with the baby coming. Can we talk later? She sighed and called her mother. Mom, David isn't paying me anything. Her mother's tone was sharp. Oh, Lena, don't be greedy. He's your brother. You know how expensive babies are. Cribs, car seats, diapers. Have some compassion. The second month came and again no payment. When Lena asked again, David brushed her off. By the 3rd month she stopped asking. She was bleeding money every month, but what could she do? Their family, she muttered bitterly to herself. Meanwhile, David and Anna were living comfortably in her apartment. Lena saw photos he sent showing off new curtains, expensive plants and trendy throw pillows. So they can afford decorations, Lena whispered, but not the rent they promised me? 4 months in, Lena decided to stop by unannounced. She still had her keys, but out of politeness she rang the doorbell first. It was a Saturday afternoon. She could hear voices inside. Who is it? David called through the door. It's me, Lena. I just need to grab some winter clothes. Silence, then his muffled reply, you should call first. We're not decent. Come back later. Lena frowned. David, it'll take 5 minutes. Just let me in. But he refused. Something in his voice was off, uneasy. Lena walked away, but suspicion gnawed at her. Something was very wrong. That evening, Lena called her Aunt Mary, her mother's older sister who lived 2 blocks from her apartment. Mary had always been the reasonable one in the family. Aunt Mary, can you do me a favor? Maybe walk by my apartment sometime and see if anything feels off? Mary didn't hesitate. Of course, honey. I'll keep an eye on it. A week later, Lena was at work debugging code when her phone rang. It was Aunt Mary. Her voice was tight. Lena, are you sitting down? Lena's stomach dropped. What is it? Mary took a breath. There's a for sale sign in front of your building. Lena frowned. That doesn't mean anything. Other units are for sale too. No, Mary said firmly. I pretended to be interested. They're showing your exact apartment. That's impossible, Lena whispered. You must be mistaken. I'm texting you a photo right now, Mary replied. Seconds later, a photo buzzed onto Lena's screen. A giant Century 21 sign stood in front of her building, and the online listing clearly showed her living room, decorated by Anna, complete with a pink nursery corner and David and Anna's wedding photo on the mantel. It was listed at $275,000. Her hands shaking, Lena called the realtor. Hi, I saw the listing for the 2-bedroom on Maple Street, she said as evenly as she could. The realtor sounded cheerful. Oh yes, it's a beautiful property. The sellers are very motivated. We already have several offers, so if you're interested, I'd move quickly. They dropped the price from $285,000 just yesterday. Lena hung up, her pulse pounding in her ears. She drove straight to her parents' house, ignoring every traffic law. Bursting into the kitchen, she found her parents calmly sipping coffee. What the hell did you do? She demanded. Her mother's face went pale and her father set his cup down slowly. What are you talking about? He asked too casually. My apartment. The one you're selling without my permission. They exchanged guilty glances. Her mother reached for her hand. Listen, Lena. We needed money for retirement. We found a beautiful house in Florida. It's an investment. You'll inherit it one day. Lena yanked her hand away. I don't want a house in Florida when you die. I want the apartment I worked for now. Her father scowled. Don't be dramatic. You make good money. You can buy another apartment better than this one. We're doing you a favor. Lena's jaw dropped. A favor? You stole from me. Stealing is a strong word, her father said coldly. We're redistributing family resources. More efficient that way. You can't sell my apartment, Lena snapped. It's in my name. You need my signature. Her father smirked, pulling out a folder from the drawer. Actually, we can. David has power of attorney. Lena's blood ran cold. What? He slid the papers toward her. Remember last year when you were traveling? You signed it so David could handle your car registration. We kept it. That was for one specific thing, Lena shouted. You can't use it for this. That's fraud. Her mother's voice softened, almost condescending. It's family, Lena. The buyer already paid a deposit. $20,000. The sale closes in 2 weeks. You'll thank us someday. Lena's voice shook with fury. You found them a studio in Queens, didn't you? You're downsizing them after stealing my apartment. Her father's face reddened. We deserve this. We raised 2 kids, worked our whole lives, scrimped while you lived in luxury. That apartment should have been ours anyway. Her mother added quickly, this is our future, our retirement. Don't you want us to be happy? Lena's father leaned closer, his tone cruel. And don't pretend you'll do anything. You won't send your parents to jail. You won't ruin your brother's life. You'll cry, complain, but you'll accept it. Because that's who you are, Lena. You accept things. Her mother nodded. You've always been the responsible one. The one who does the right thing. The right thing here is helping your family. Lena stared at them, her chest tight. She remembered every injustice. Every time David got away with something. Every time her parents took from her without shame. Her father's words echoed. You won't do anything. She stood abruptly. You don't know me at all. Without another word, she walked out, her fists clenched. She drove straight to her apartment and banged on the door. After 5 minutes, David finally cracked it open with the chain still on. "This isn't a good time," he muttered. Lena's voice was sharp. "Open the door or I'm calling the police right now." David hesitated. "You need to leave. This is our apartment now." From inside, Anna's voice called, "She's harassing us. If you don't leave, I'm calling 911. "You're stealing my home," Lena shouted. Anna stepped into view, her hand resting on her now showing belly. She smirked. "Who do you think they'll believe? The pregnant wife or the crazy sister-in-law screaming outside?" David avoided Lena's eyes. "Please just go," he whispered before shutting the door in her face. Lena's fury hardened into resolve. She shouted through the door, "I'm getting a lawyer." Anna's mocking voice rang out. "Good luck. Your dad said you'd never actually do it. He knows his good little girl better than that." Lena turned on her heel, her hands trembling, but not with fear this time. The very next morning she walked into a law office and laid every piece of evidence on the table. The lawyer's name was Mark Benson, a sharp man in his 40s with glasses perched low on his nose. He listened quietly as Lena explained everything. Her parents, the power of attorney, the apartment listing. She slid the documents across the desk with shaking hands. Mark adjusted his glasses. "This is clear fraud," he said firmly. "The power of attorney was limited to that one car registration. They cannot legally use it for real estate. We'll file an emergency injunction to freeze the sale and bring criminal charges." Lena let out a shaky breath. "So I'm not crazy? They really tried to steal my apartment." Mark gave a small nod. "Not only tried, they're halfway there. But don't worry, we'll stop it." His calm confidence steadied her nerves. "Do whatever it takes," Lena said. "I want this shut down." That same afternoon, police officers showed up at her parents' house with legal documents. The sale was frozen immediately. The furious buyer was refunded their deposit, and Jacob and Anna were served with eviction papers. They had 30 days to move out. Lena's phone buzzed non-stop, calls from her parents, messages from Jacob, even emails from Anna. He ignored them all. When Lena blocked their numbers, the guilt campaign began. Her mother wrote a 10-page letter filled with dramatic pleas. "You're destroying our family. You're sending your father to jail. Think of the baby." Her father sent a typed letter accusing her of being ungrateful and warning he would disown her. Anna even emailed ultrasound pictures with the subject line, "Don't punish an innocent child." Lena sent one cold reply through her lawyer. Any further contact will be considered harassment and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. After that she stayed silent. The eviction went through. Jacob and Anna packed up and moved into Anna's parents' home in New Jersey. The apartment was Lena's again, though it felt tainted by betrayal. Her father's criminal case proceeded quickly. The district attorney offered him a plea deal, 2 years probation and a $10,000 fine. His lawyer urged him to accept. When Lena heard the news, she felt no satisfaction, only exhaustion. "He did this to himself," she muttered, though a small part of her still hurt at the thought of testifying against her own father. Aunt Mary called a week later. "Your mom showed up at my house in tears," she said. "The bank is foreclosing on their place. They haven't paid the mortgage in months since you stopped sending money." Lena's heart clenched. "How much did I give them over the years, Aunt Mary?" Mary's voice softened. "Too much, honey. But good for you. You've done enough. Stand your ground." Word spread quickly through the extended family. Soon, Lena learned she wasn't the only victim. Her parents had borrowed thousands from her uncle under the pretense of medical bills, then used it for a vacation. They'd tricked her father's sister with fake home repair costs and bought a new car instead. Relatives began to compare notes, each one realizing they'd been played. One call, however, surprised Lena most. Her grandmother, her father's mother, reached out for the first time in years. "Lena dear," the elderly woman said warmly, "I heard what happened. I'm rewriting my will. Your parents won't see a penny. I'll leave everything to you and your cousins. They've burned every bridge." Tears welled in Lena's eyes. "Thank you, Grandma," she whispered. For the first time in a long time she felt truly seen. 2 weeks after Jacob and Anna's eviction, Lena was called downstairs at work by reception. "There's a woman here claiming to be your mother," the receptionist said. Lena could hear shouting in the background. She walked to the lobby and saw her mother disheveled, hair unwashed, eyes wild. "Lena," her mother cried. "You have to help us. We're living in our car." Security stepped in, but her mother lunged at her. "You heartless monster. You destroyed this family." Lena's voice was calm, almost cold. "No, Mom. Dad destroyed this family when he committed fraud." Security guards escorted Lena's mother out of the building as she screamed, "She ruined our lives." The next week her father tried showing up at Lena's office too, but security turned him away. Soon after, her parents attempted to ambush her at her apartment, but Lena had installed cameras. She called the police immediately and the judge issued a restraining order against them both. Jacob tried a softer approach. Since Lena blocked him everywhere, Anna's mother began calling instead. "Lena," she said in a voicemail, "whatever happened between you and your parents, don't punish the baby. Think of your niece." Lena didn't respond. But later she discovered the truth. Jacob and Anna weren't struggling at all. They were living rent-free in Anna's parents' large home, supported by her family's successful plumbing business. The struggling parents' story was just another manipulation. Through Aunt Mary's updates, Lena learned her parents bounced between relatives, wearing out their welcome in days. Each visit came with sob stories about their cruel daughter. But relatives were comparing notes now and nobody was buying it anymore. Eventually, Lena's parents burned every bridge. Aunt Mary told her one day over coffee, "They're living in a shelter now. They won't admit it, but a friend of mine saw them there." 6 months after the eviction, Lena received a letter in the mail. It was handwritten by Jacob. "Lena, I know you hate me and I don't blame you. When Anna gave birth to Emma, I realized what kind of father I want to be. I knew what Mom and Dad were doing was wrong, but I looked away because I benefited. I'm sorry. I'm not asking for forgiveness or money. I just needed you to know." Lena read it 3 times. Then she quietly folded it away in a drawer. The apartment finally felt like hers again. She redecorated, buying new furniture and artwork that reflected her taste. She scrubbed every trace of David and Anna's brief stay from her walls. Standing in the living room one evening, glass of wine in hand, Lena whispered, "Mine. All mine." For the first time in years she felt peace inside her own home. When Thanksgiving came around, Lena's cousin invited her. "Your parents won't be there," her cousin reassured. At the table, the empty seats where her parents and brother might have sat felt strange, but also liberating. There were no backhanded comments about her career, no guilt trips, no demands for money. Just laughter, food, and genuine warmth. Her grandmother pulled her aside after dinner. "I'm proud of you," she said, squeezing Lena's hand. "They treated you unfairly for years. I should have spoken up sooner. But you finally stood your ground. That takes strength." Lena blinked back tears. Hearing those words from her grandmother meant more than any apology from her parents ever could. A year after the ordeal began, Lena spotted Jacob at a cafe. He had a stroller with little Emma inside. Their eyes met. For a moment Jacob started toward her, but then he stopped, gave a small nod and walked the other way. Lena exhaled slowly. Maybe one day they would talk, maybe not. Either way, she was no longer carrying the burden of guilt. At work, life blossomed. Her startup secured a round of funding and she was promoted twice. Her stock options began to look promising. She even started dating someone new, a kind man named Mark who couldn't believe her family's betrayal when she finally told him the story. "You survived all that," he said softly one night. "You're stronger than you know." Lena still received the occasional letter from her mother, usually forwarded by distant relatives. She never opened them. "Pretty sure fraud is a bigger sin than disobedience," Aunt Mary joked once. Lena laughed. She no longer needed her parents' approval. She had chosen her own family, the relatives who stood by her, the friends who cared, and the life she was building. Some bridges she realized were meant to stay burned. And she was finally okay with that. Moral lesson. Family bonds should never be used as chains of control. Love and loyalty mean nothing without respect and honesty. Protecting your boundaries is not selfish, it's survival. Thanks you for watching, and please remember to tell us where you are watching from today. Hit the like button, comment and subscribe to this.